Jack and Sarah's apartment in a quiet London neighborhood is filled with sunshine and comfort. Sarah, with a rounded belly, is busy organizing the children's room. The walls are painted in a soft pastel color, everywhere laid out soft toys, baby blankets, and books. Jack hugs Sarah fondly. He asks her how she's feeling and helps her carry heavy bags of baby things. Their eyes are filled with anticipation of a happy future and a deep love for each other. Together they choose a name for the baby girl, look through catalogs of strollers and baby furniture. Jack seems utterly enamored with the prospect of fatherhood. He tells his friends and colleagues about the upcoming birth of the child, proudly shows photos from the ultrasound and enthusiastically plans his life after the arrival of the baby girl. Sarah, in turn, lovingly watches Jack and feels like the luckiest woman in the world. Their days are filled with mutual care, tenderness, and anticipation. In the evenings they cook dinner together, watch movies and discuss the future of their family. Jack often places his hand on Sarah's belly and talks to the unborn child, promising him his love and protection. They make grandiose plans for the future, dreaming of traveling, a large house with a garden and a happy life full of love and joy. However, this idyll suddenly collapses. One day, when they are just weeks away from giving birth, Sarah suddenly feels a sharp pain in her abdomen. Jack panics and calls an ambulance. Doctors arrive on the scene, quickly assess the situation and decide to urgently hospitalize her. At the hospital, Sarah is immediately sent to the operating room. Jack is in complete despair, waiting in the corridor, tormented by anxiety and fear. He nervously paces back and forth, praying and trying to call his mother to let her know what has happened. After hours of waiting, the doctor comes out to tell him that the labor was successful and they have a healthy baby girl. Jack is overjoyed. He thanks the doctor and rushes to Sarah's room. However, his joy does not last long. The doctor informs him that during labor, Sarah suffered serious complications from a postpartum embolism. Despite the doctor's best efforts, she could not be saved. Jack can't believe what he's heard. He feels the world crumbling around him. He refuses to believe in Sarah's death and demands that the doctors do everything possible to save her. However, all efforts are in vain. Sarah dies, leaving Jack alone with his newborn daughter in his arms. The first days after Sarah's death turn into a real nightmare for Jack. He is absolutely devastated and cannot accept the loss of his beloved wife. He cries constantly, does not sleep at night and refuses to eat. His apartment is plunged into chaos and disorder. He does not know how to care for the baby, how to change diapers, how to feed and soothe her. He feels completely helpless and incompetent. Little Sarah, sensing his anxiety and despair, is constantly crying and cranky. Jack tries to combine work and taking care of the child, but he does not succeed. He is late for meetings, forgets important things and constantly feels guilty in front of Sarah, believing that he is not living up to her expectations. He hires nannies, but they all turn out to be incompetent or unscrupulous. One nanny forgets to feed the baby, another falls asleep on the job, and a third steals money from Jack's wallet. He despairs and begins to think about giving the child to an orphanage. During this difficult period in Jack's life, his mother, Irene, appears. Irene is an overbearing and eccentric woman with conservative views on parenting. She flies in from America to help Jack cope with his difficulties. However, her help turns out to be more of a bare favor. Irene begins to set her own rules in Jack's house and criticizes him for incompetence. She believes that Jack is too soft and does not know how to raise a child. She tries to impose her methods of upbringing on him, which seem outdated and ineffective to Jack. There are constant arguments and conflicts between them. Irene believes that Jack should return to work as soon as possible and hire a professional nanny, and she herself will return to America. Jack, in turn, does not want to part with his daughter and believes that he should take part in her upbringing. One day, walking with a stroller in the park, Jack meets Vera, a young Serbian medical student. Vera is an energetic, cheerful, and very practical girl. She notices that Jack is having difficulty caring for the baby and offers to help him. At first Jack refuses, but after another failure with the nanny he agrees. Vera quickly finds a common language with little Sarah and begins to help Jack in everything. She teaches him simple things about caring for a child, supports him morally and gradually returns his taste for life. Vera shows Jack how to change diapers properly, how to prepare baby food, how to soothe a crying baby, and how to play with him. She tells him about different parenting techniques and shares her experiences from working at a children's hospital. Vera also helps Jack to organize his household. She cleans the apartment, cooks meals, and does the children's laundry. With the arrival of Vera, Jack's life begins to get better. He gradually learns to be a father, gets used to the new daily routine, and begins to enjoy communicating with his daughter. Vera becomes him not only a nanny, but also a close friend. They talk a lot, share their experiences, and laugh together. Vera tells Jack about her life in Serbia, her family, and her dreams. Jack in turn tells Vera about his work, his hobbies, and his love for Sarah. A warm and trusting bond develops between them. At the same time, Jack meets William, a geeky and eccentric unemployed actor who lives in the neighborhood. William is a real clown who is constantly getting into funny and ridiculous situations. He offers Jack his help as a male nanny to teach little Sarah how to play man's games. At first, Jack is skeptical of the idea, but soon realizes that William is a kind and harmless man who genuinely loves children. William becomes a family friend and brings a lot of joy and laughter into Jack and Sarah's lives. William puts on shows for Sarah, reads her stories, and teaches her to sing songs. He also helps Jack relax and take his mind off sad thoughts. Jack and little Sarah's life is gradually returning to normal. He begins to successfully combine work and raising his daughter, finds time to socialize with friends, and even begins to think about the future. He becomes a confident father and realizes that he can cope with any difficulties. He begins to realize that Sarah's death is not the end of life, but the beginning of a new stage. Meanwhile, the relationship between Jack and Vera becomes warmer and closer. They spend a lot of time together, walking with Sarah in the park, dining in restaurants, and sharing their secrets. Jack realizes that he is falling in love with Vera, but is afraid to admit his feelings to her. He is afraid that Vera will take his confession as gratitude for his help and will not reciprocate. In addition, he fears that their relationship could destroy the fragile stability he has struggled to find. One day, Vera informs Jack that she is going back to Serbia to finish her studies. Jack is shocked by this news. He realizes that he cannot imagine his life without Vera and that he must do everything he can to keep her. He confesses his feelings to Vera and she reciprocates. Vera tells Jack that she has also fallen in love with him and does not want to leave. Irene finds out about Jack and Vera's relationship and becomes furious. She thinks that Vera is unworthy of Jack and that he should find a more suitable wife. She tries to convince Jack to break up with Vera and even offers him to meet other women. However, Jack is adamant. He tells his mother that he loves Vera and that she makes him happy. Irene, seeing that Jack is not going to change his mind, resigns herself to his choice. She realizes that the most important thing is her son's happiness. Jack and Vera are walking in the park with little Sarah. They look happy and confident about the future. Jack realizes that he has found not only love, but also a real family. He is grateful to fate for sending him Vera, who helped him cope with grief and taught him to love and be loved. The movie ends with hope for a happy future for Jack, Vera, and little Sarah. William is still around, bringing zaniness and humor into their lives. They have bought a new, larger house with a garden where little Sarah can play and frolic in the fresh air. Jack has finally found a work-life balance and feels truly happy. He realizes that Sarah will always be in his heart, but he can and should move on and be happy.